箱を開ける瞬間って毎回ドキドキする。わかる、すっごいわかる。
I know that's an exaggerated reaction, but I can still agree with the sentiment. Gundam is awesome! The show starts and we're introduced to our protagonist Riku, who's going to his first major Gundam event, and this leads to the Gundam is awesome moment. This is important because in Build Divers, instead of actually piloting giant robots, the way that you do the giant robot battles is you take the model kits, you scan them into a video game, and that's how we actually do the battles. It's also important to show off all the potential that the Gundam franchise has. You can do all this customization, recreate scenes from the shows, and hey, you folks watching Build Divers at home, you can buy these model kits yourself. Hint, hint. This also serves as an introduction for the Gunpla champion if you didn't see episode 0, and finally it gives us some action scenes before the opening credits, which means we don't have to rush our heroes into the video game too early. Stop staring at the sun! Clunky exposition aside, this is an effective way to have some variety early on in the show, and this is how we're introduced to the third character, Momo, who doesn't really follow the Gundam franchise. She's more into soccer, and she seems like a pretty strong athlete, even though Riku scores the winning goal because main character. Aside from that bit of predictable main characterisms, I do appreciate the scene. It's also kind of funny that you could show this scene by itself and people would think it was a soccer anime. After the victory, Momo really wants these two to join the soccer club. And just like that, I can tell the show's not trying to take itself too seriously. This is a lighthearted, fun show, but I do want to point out that these characters are supposed to be 14, so this is a little bit immature and also kind of rude. Yes, the transition from the soccer field to the Gunpla store is what I'm gonna call a budget-friendly commercial for the in-universe video game. Not much animation going on, is there? There's a nice G-Gundam reference towards the end, but this kind of breaks the flow of the story when they don't even show the characters watching this on TV or something. If anyone's wondering, here's my idea for a transition. Wouldn't be the first time Gundam borrowed something from Starship Troopers. And I'm not talking about giant robots. I'm talking about the actual movie. Congratulations, people who know what I'm talking about. Speaking of giant robots, Riku's here to buy a new Gunpla. There's a lot going on here, and I don't want to draw the wrong conclusions, so I'm gonna wait until the series is over, and then I'll come back to this and do a full video analyzing what Riku just said. For now, though, Riku is still trying to decide on a Gunpla, and Yuki, as the Gundam expert, is trying to help out, but Riku just kind of wanders off. Maybe he saw something shiny. You see what I mean by something shiny? I cannot take this scene seriously. I know they're going for the whole the weapon chooses its master, but I keep thinking, diver don't pick the Gunpla pick the diver. This leads to a building montage, followed by a little joke about how Yuki's sister Nanami doesn't really know that much about Gundam despite the fact that she works here. This may seem random, but businesses with rooftop gardens are actually a thing. Nanami probably gets some kind of employee discount to rent one of the spaces. After this, Riku heads home to customize the 00, and we get an interesting bit of continuity where we see Riku's other Gunpla, and then cut to the next morning where he's apparently cannibalized all of them to just give the 00 little bits of extra armor. I'm a little bit disappointed that we're not going to get to see Riku pilot the stock 00 first, but as a consolation prize, here's a little game I like to call Spot the Gunpla Pieces. Just try to match the pieces on the table with Riku's Gunpla. Alright, it's time to get serious. Let's play Gunpla Art Online. First, put on the nerve gear. I mean, this is not a nerve gear, completely different franchise. Here they use dive gear, completely different franchise.
Login data confirmed. Are you ready?
Heck yeah, I'm ready. Let's dive on in. Yes, people who play GBN are called divers, which means I'm gonna call this skinny dipping through cyberspace. My problem isn't with the nudity, it's that this whole scene is a fade to commercial where Riku's just flying around going, wow. If the nudity bothers you though, I will say it's animated in such a way that you don't actually see Riku's naughty bits. After the commercials, our heroes are wandering around the hub area where they meet this unscrupulous merchant, and then he gets scared off by
お姉さんはマギー。あなたたちみたいな初心者プレイヤーに GBN を楽しんでもらえるようナビゲーターを買って出てる。
So far, Maggie is presented as one of those eccentric mentor characters, and that's all I'm really gonna say for this episode. I'll do more analysis when later episodes come out, but in the meantime, we have a tutorial mission to get to. But first, we gotta stop off at the mobile suit hangar to see that, hey, those model kits you built? They're giant robots in the video game! Gundam is awesome! This first mission is, hey, you kids take your mobile suits over here, go fight these 3 mobile suits over there. And yes, those Leos are just different enough that, hey, we can sell a new model kit. As for the battle itself, it doesn't have to do much, it just has to show off the different attacks. I'm not gonna do a play-by-play of the whole mission, but the first Leo that gets destroyed shows the despawn mechanic. This is important because the last Leo that gets taken out just kind of falls down. Shortly afterwards, it turns out that Leo was only mostly dead, despite the mission accomplished sign, and then Riku's quick reflexes save Yuki, but looking back, you probably wouldn't pick up on that last Leo the first time you watched the show. I know I didn't, but then going back to it, it's that fun little bit of foreshadowing that's greatly appreciated. Our heroes pick up a distress call, and when they go to investigate, they find Sarah. She was actually hinted at earlier on in episode 1, and she's in the opening, so she's probably an important character. Sarah's understandably disorientated, what with the waking up in a video game and everything, but no time for that now. We've got another distress call from someone who is obviously faking a stomachache. This is Doji. He's actually been following our heroes since they got here, and his plan this whole time was trick them into ending the mission so he can do a sneak attack. This plan actually works because Riku is, I'm going to say, a very trusting person. Doji manages to cripple the GM3 and then destroy the sword gun. The good news is your standard 00 has 2 sword guns, as seen here. The bad news is, for some reason, Riku decided to only bring one of them, and no, there is no explanation for this given in the episode. Things are getting desperate. Fortunately,
諦めないで。あなたのガンプラはまだ諦めていない。
そうだ。俺も00もまだ諦めていない。
Now that Riku's got his confidence back, he realizes, hey, Yuki's got extra beam sabers. Now that Riku's got a weapon, he's able to defeat Doji, which means score 1 for teamwork. Fun fact, Doji's actually voiced by the same person as Kirito from Sword Art Online. Kinda adds a whole new layer of symbolism when you realize that Build Divers has essentially taken Kirito, the master of online gaming, and turned him into a depressing reminder of why I don't do a lot of online gaming. As the credits roll, Yuki and Riku head back to the GBN hub area, but where'd Sarah go? She didn't even tell him her name. I had to look it up on the internet. Maggie's concerned that these two might hate GBN now, but rather than answer, we cut back to the real world where Nanami's asking the same question. What'd you kids think about the game? I'll tell you what I think. Gundam is awesome! Admittedly, I'm a bit biased towards my favorite franchise, but I will say that this episode has made a pretty good first impression. This is the Hypervisor, signing off.